If you want to win on Amazon, you're not just marketing to consumers, you're marketing to an algorithm. The brands that succeed are the ones that understand how to send the right signals, drive real engagement, and turn visibility into sustained growth. That's a quote from Samir Bhavani and a sneak peek at today's episode. Hey there, I'm Carrie Curran, revenue growth consultant, industry analyst, and host of Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast. Every episode, I sit down with top experts to bring you actionable strategies that drive real revenue results. So if you're serious about growth, hit subscribe and to stay ahead of your competition. In this episode, Influencers in Amazon, the game-changing strategy for top rankings, I'm joined by Shari Brown, Senior Brand Manager of Central Garden and Pet, and Samir Bhavani, Strategic Account Director at Product Wind. Samir, Shari, and I discussed a game-changing strategy for boosting Amazon rankings. We dive into the mechanics of how influencer-driven purchases and reviews send signals to the Amazon algorithm, and how leveraging creators and micro-influencers to influence the algorithm drives true results. Shari shares how her team uses this innovative approach to achieve a 285% overperformance in SEO results and 50 page one wins. This proves the power of a data-driven influencer strategy. Be sure to stay tuned to the end, where Shari and Samir share how you can get started with a winning Amazon strategy today. Let's go. So welcome, Samir and Shari. Please introduce yourselves and share a bit about your background and expertise.
Thanks, Carrie, for having me. So I'm Samir. I'm based out of San Diego. I actually got my start back in 1998 with Carrie at Boston College. We both attended. But I've been in e-com for about 15 years now. And my background is I've always been someone who kind of is passionate about like emerging technologies. So, back in like 2009, I went to a company that was doing video reviews with video influencers before Instagram, before TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. I started one of the first e-commerce market share companies. That thing ended up turning into 1010 Data. And then I went to Commerce IQ because they were the first company that I knew of to do automations around advertising and sales automations and things. And then towards the end of last year, take my next big bet to come over to Product Wind, which is one of the most unique companies I've come across in the e-com space in the last 10 years.
Excellent. And by the way, Samir and I both graduated when we were 12. That's why we were in class of 98.
That's exactly right. That's why we look so young.
Sorry, go ahead, Shari. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. So I've been in the brand world for over 10 years now at a mix of startups, traditional CPG with Mars Wrigley, a DTC company under the Nestle umbrella, and most recently with Central Garden and Pet. They are the biggest $3.3 billion company that you've never heard of because they've got umbrellas of garden brands and pet brands. So I've been here for 2 years working on the pet business, specifically with cat health and wellness.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm excited to talk to you both. I know you've got some great strategies and examples to share. But before we dive in, Samir, I know, like you said, you've been in the e-com space. We've both been watching it again since we were 12. And the evolution has been so awesome to watch and be a part of. But at the same time, it just gets harder and harder and harder for brands to kind of get that visibility. So talk a bit about kind of what you've seen from your perspective and just how hard it's gotten.
Yeah. So, if you look at what's happening right in e-commerce, the market's more competitive, right? In terms of number of competitors, as well as the different tactics that people use to be competitive. There are a number of things that happen today that can be what I call like very expensive ways to drive brand awareness. For many years, people were focused on, let me get Kim Kardashian to talk about my makeup, and that's going to explode
Yeah.
sales, right? And that looks good, but at the end of the day, we need to focus on selling specific products on specific retail platforms. And what we found is that marketers at brands like Shari at Central have a very unique challenge, right? And that challenge is not only do you need to market your product and drive awareness to the end consumer, you also have to market your product and drive awareness to a robot, which is the algorithm that
Yeah.
Target, Walmart, and Amazon have, and make sure you're sending the right signals to that algorithm to then make your other job of marketing to consumers a little bit easier because your product is that much more visible.
Yeah, so it's not easy, and it requires a lot of different strategies and tactics and levers, and but a lot of smart thinking as well. So Shari, tell us a bit more about your brand and your product, and kind of in the what like the how growth had been going before when you needed help.
Yeah, so I work on a brand called Comfort Zone. We are part of the cat calming category. And before I get into the brand, you may or may not, like I wasn't, be familiar with cat calming. It is not cat yoga. It is not doing yoga with your cat, although I would totally do that. Cats actually get very stressed out from pretty much anything, whether it's moving, having a child, getting married, or
Mhm.
even simple things like moving your furniture from one place to the other. So there's this tension because consumers get cats because they perceive them to be low maintenance pets. But then the reality doesn't match the expectation when all of a sudden their cats are peeing all over the wall or scratching up your
Mhm.
favorite couch. So that's where Comfort Zone comes in. We bring that low maintenance back to cat parenting because when cats aren't stressed, they can reveal their best playful, quirky selves that we all know and love about cats. So the category has very low household penetration, much lower than cat ownership in the United States, and the willingness to try cat calming products. So our brand, it's a great category to be in. There's so much upside, but when nobody knows about you, you've got to figure out how to get visibility.
Yeah, and so you have the added challenge of building category awareness and brand awareness and market share and adoption. So, kind of, what were your business challenges, like you said, when you first kind of connected with Samir and his team?
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out how to grow visibility, and of course I've got a paid strategy in place. But I was looking at organic, and like, how do I do this on Amazon?
Yeah.
And that's where my colleague invited me to a capabilities presentation with Product Wind, and I'm like, sure, I'll meet these guys. I need all the help I can get.
Did they give you a free lunch and you were like, that sounds good?
We were remote, so I'm still waiting for my
I'm
free
sorry.
my free DoorDash in the mail.
Write
um,
that down.
yeah, but they were all about, hey, we can bring visibility to your new launches. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, but I don't have a new launch. But maybe could we actually do this with my existing trial SKUs that are buried on Amazon and I need some help? And this perfect partnership was formed.
I think this is so smart, and clearly you have such a strategic thinking to that of there's got to be another. This solution's got to help for more than just new to market brands. So Samir, talk about kind of how you like identify what Shari needed and kind of came up with that with an approach to help.
Yeah, so Central came to us as we were first mostly known, right, to help essentially launch a new product or make it retail ready in weeks
Hmm.
instead of months, right? And
Yeah.
that's really what kind of put us on the map. And then that's not the only way to use, right? It's not necessarily even the best way to use it.
Yeah.
Sherry's use case was perfect, right? This product is in market. Let's say that it's not meeting the expectations that we have at the moment.
Hmm.
So what can we do? And so that's the problem statement, right? Because if a product like this doesn't start getting closer to its weekly, monthly goals,
Mhm.
that's going to make it that much harder for her business to hit its numbers, right? And this is a $3.3 billion company. So everything counts, right? Every single ASIN is important. And so what we do with every brand is we understand, what are you trying to do with this product, this brand, this group of products, et cetera. And so we will deploy essentially different types of creators, right? Some people call them influencers, but different types of creators
Mhm.
who will be people who are relevant to her category. So, for example, we don't want to just flood purchases of people who don't own a cat and only own a dog to buy a cat product, right? The reviews they leave, who knows what they're going to be. What we'll do is, depending on the brand's goals, we will deploy different groups of creators to help meet those goals. So she mentioned the new product launch, right? Which we didn't do with them in the beginning. But if you have a new product launch, there's a couple of things you want to do, right? First thing is speed to reviews, right? You want to make sure that you get to 25, 30, 50 reviews. You want to make sure you're on page one. For an existing product, right, we need to make sure, especially in a category like this, which is low awareness, we want to make sure that we're driving sales. So the signal that we want to send to the algorithm, this product is hot, this product is trending. And so how do you do that, right? So we want to deploy a large number of people, 300, 400, 500 people to go purchase this product, to go send that signal and help drive the flywheel, right? So the more purchases is going to end up, we're going to have more reviews, our organic rank is going to rise. And so ultimately with her, we said, how many of your key search terms can we move from where they are today? Let's call them just page 2 to page 1. Because we all know, right, if you look at the data, it's like insane how much your sales increase when you go from page 2 to page 1. And then from the bottom of page 1 to top 10 to top 5.
Hey everyone, it's me, Carrie Curran. If you're a B2B company that sells to marketers, whether you're an agency, MarTech, or AdTech, and your revenue is either flattening, declining, or just not growing fast enough, I can help. I've spent my entire career selling, marketing, and servicing marketers, so I know firsthand the challenges they face, the buying decisions they make, and what actually moves the needle. The truth is, most marketing strategies aren't built for revenue growth, but mine are. As your fractional chief growth officer, I'll bring revenue-focused marketing strategies designed specifically for selling to marketers, deep expertise in agency, MarTech, and AdTech buying behaviors, modern go-to-market strategies that include everything from brand awareness to driving loyalty and retention, and a track record of doubling and even tripling revenue for B2B companies just like yours. So if you're tired of your stagnant results and you're ready to build a marketing engine that actually drives revenue, let's talk. Visit revenuebasedmarketing.com or connect with me on LinkedIn to schedule a consultation. Together, let's build a smarter, more profitable path forward. RBMA, Revenue-Based Marketing Advisors, we're revenue-based marketing that works. And I love this because we hear so much about the influencer and creator strategies to build awareness, like the Kardashian example you gave, or drive sales with like the affiliate influencer programs. But you're really looking at using influencers and creators to help drive sales in a different way, to help
Point of purchase.
and to influence the algorithm to then even snowball to drive even more sales. So I think it's such a creative and strategic approach that it's just really smart and unique that how you've kind of came up with this. So okay, so you've found talk to me about kind of how you set this up, how you set up a test and kind of evaluate what Shari's products need.
Yeah, so everything that we talked about, everything Shari heard on our webinar, it sounds wonderful, right? It's mashed potatoes and gravy, but proof is in the pudding ultimately. So what we look at really is, for each campaign, we set up, what are the goals, right? We set up different KPIs. How many times do we want to be on page 1? How many reviews do we want? Et cetera, et cetera. And then we'll measure, how did we did we hit those goals? And that's just piece one, right? That's
Yeah.
table stakes. If I tell her I'm going to get 10 page one wins, I got to get at least 10. I want to get her 20.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then from there, we say, all right, the question is like, what would have happened without a product win campaign? And there's different ways that we can create groupings of products or a simple one product to another product A/B test to say,
Mhm.
this is what happened with us, this is what happened without us. And typically the results end up being, yes, it makes sense to do more. And I'll let her talk more about that.
Yeah. So Shari, tell us like your take on the campaign and kind of what data were you looking at?
Yeah, so my approach is very much test and learn. When you work on a small brand with big growth ambitions, but a scrappy budget, every
Mhm.
dollar has to work. So what I was really looking at was number one, in the first week of this test, are we seeing momentum? Or are there any optimizations we've got to make? So the next thing I was looking at was how do I know when product wind earned me my page one win or whether I had already earned it myself? Because remember, product wind was geared towards new products. They don't have any page wins, but I already did have some.
Yeah.
So product wind was great partners, and we actually worked together to bring some visibility into those metrics so I could see what wins do I already have, where is product wind, adding incrementality to those wins. And a huge shout out to the team for that partnership.
No, and that's awesome that you're able to get better data. So talk about like how did having more accurate data, that comparison, how did this all make you smarter as a marketer, and have you do more for your brand?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just about getting clear results. What's driving success, what's not driving success. So for me, when I can see that the results are real, then that helps me make decisions with which path I'm going to take to grow. So we did have some clear success with our initial campaigns. We had 285% overperformance of SEO results versus our campaign goals.
Wow.
We had 50 total organic page one wins across the campaigns, and we had over 15K search slots gained across the 3 campaigns. So it was clear success. Now we're just figuring out where does it make sense to broaden on the brand, and where does it make sense to go with the relationship with Central Garden and Pet.
That's those are incredible stats, and obviously proves out just the value that the whole strategy can bring to your business results. The
PSA,
revenue,
your
yeah,
mileage may vary.
yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. But great. So then, what's next? Like, what's kind of the next stage then? You
Shoot, I
talked
think
about like, sorry.
sorry.
All right. So then you talked about now you can. You talked about now you can. You have a self-service platform so that you can,
There we go.
when you have a promotion starting, or
Okay.
like there's other levers you can pull as you're kind of to integrate with your other sales strategies.
So this is great. So the first test campaign, there's a lot of sort of like what I call like hand holding. It might take a few days to get everything set up. We understand
Mm-hmm.
everything. Once Shari and her team become comfortable with using the platform, right? Because once we do a campaign, they're in there every day. They want to see how many people
Mm-hmm.
bought the product, how many people reviewed the product, how many page one
Yep.
wins, et cetera, et cetera. But the beauty of this is that this is essentially an always on platform
Mm-hmm.
where Central can go in, so it's Thursday. Let's say Shari finds out after this is done that someone on the marketing team is running some promotion, right? Like next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So she could actually go in ahead of that and within, I'd say, 60 to 90 seconds, create a small campaign to help boost that product's rank ahead of the promotion going into effect. So then those promotional dollars that are spent on Wednesday or what have you will become that much more efficient because you've already sort of lifted the product. So what we're trying to do is act as a magnet, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
ahead of the curve a little bit, we're quicker, and then that's going to boost all of your organic.
Yeah, I love the integration with the other kind of sales strategies. So smart. So with brands that want to get started on Amazon, either new product or need to launch, like what's your top recommendation for what they need to think about?
So I always say, do your research, right? So every single brand is different. Um, you look at the ways that you go to market today, right? Whether it's, hands-on keys, whether you have an agency, um, whether you're doing product sampling, etc. I would say, all right, this is what I've been doing, and this is how it's been working. For many people, it's been successful. What do I do now, right? Because everyone's sales targets in digital commerce are much higher in 2025 than they were in 2024.
Yeah, yeah,
So what can I do differently to accelerate everything, right? And so if, like, we went back to that, if it normally takes me months and months to get a product retail ready, how can I do that in weeks? If I
hmm
have a product that's been on market for 9 months or 1 year and it's just a laggard, it's just not hitting the sales goals. You know what? I'm sitting on Amazon has a ton of inventory of this product. I gotta get rid of
yeah,
this,
yeah,
otherwise it's a straight loss.
yeah.
So my advice is really just to look at alternative ways and really kind of, imitation is the best form of flattery. Copy what Shari is doing and test and learn, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let's try something new and let's try something different. It could be product win, it could be somebody else, it could be the new startup that hasn't started yet. But you really need to keep your eye out on what's innovative
hmm
that can help move the needle in an above board sort of fashion.
Excellent. I love that. Thank you both so much for joining and sharing these great recommendations and examples. So before I let you go, how can people find you?
So mine is easy. You can go to productwin.com or you can go to LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find.
So Shari, how can people find you?
Feel free to find me on LinkedIn and reach out anytime.
Excellent. And we will include a link to your products for all the cat lovers out there because I think it sounds amazing. I don't have a cat, but my best friend does. And guess what she's getting as a gift? But awesome. Thank you both. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Shari.
all of your expertise and knowledge. So thank you so much for joining today.
This was great.
Thanks,
Shari,
Carrie.
good luck for president
Thank
today.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you're struggling with flat or slow revenue growth, you're not alone. That's why Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, brings you expert insights, actionable strategies, and real-world success stories to help you scale faster. So if you're serious about growth, hit follow, subscribe, and drop a 5-star rating. It helps us keep the game-changing content coming. New episodes drop regularly, so don't miss out.